Okay, people, so massive, huge changes are coming from the publisher of Shonen Jump. And what's the future going to be looking like in terms of some big things that they're creating that is honestly going to change the shape of the company and possibly even how we get manga, how we read manga, how we experience it, and much, much more after these major changes. But I'm not even going to lie. I was about to record this video when I saw this meme and I was like, I got to share it with you guys. Like, keep it a buck with me. Is that meme valid? Like, is that a valid meme? I'm just saying. I saw it and the first thing I thought to myself is, oh my god, pain. But not as painful as if I was to make you wait any longer for another episode of FORNEVERNEWS. You already know the vibe. What do we got stories to talk about? Let's do it. By the way, people, just wanted to quickly tell you that if you're not subscribed, you should do so. 65% of people aren't subscribed right now, and it benefits immensely if you hit those buttons. Subscribe, bell for all notifications. It helps this channel. It helps everything go. And if you press those buttons right now, 100 gajillion trillion dollars will fall from the sky, and you will love it forever. Yeah. Okay, people, so as of recent, I started to notice that Shonen Jump, Shueisha, and just in general them as a brand, as anime and manga has continued to expand. You already know Sony bought up Crunchyroll, Funimation, and all that good stuff. Like, as it continues to balloon to heights that it's never seen before, ultimately, I've noticed that Weekly Shonen Jump as a whole, and just in general, this conglomerate of Shueisha have really been trying to branch out and try different things. Like, early on in this whole experience that I've had talking about anime and manga on YouTube and following the scene real closely so that I can understand exactly what's going on, I noticed that Shonen Jump, they used to be very standard. Shueisha used to be very standard at that. There was things that, as fans, sometimes we would scream at them like, yo, dog, you could market it so crazy right now if you was to just do this, this, this. And it always felt like there was this red tape that wouldn't allow things. And interestingly enough, to give you a little bit more insight into why I feel this way, that major change has come over the last few years, is it was about 2017, if I'm not mistaken, that Japan had announced that a new emperor was coming and taking over, and it was going to be a new dynasty, essentially a new wave of essentially a new ruler or whatnot. And I feel like ever since then, there's been just incremental changes to so many things, including the fact that Japan has opened up more to collaborating and doing business with people over in the West. Prior to that, I remember one time a story, you're gonna be like, yo, Funev, whoa, where Funimation, if I'm not mistaken, had the rights to One Piece's anime suspended because of an accident when they uploaded an episode prior to it airing in Japan, and it was a massive mess where I believe they actually had to do this big project to say sorry to Toei Animation for uploading the episode early and deliver like thousands of paper cranes from fans and all sorts of insanity. Like, they were really strict about everything, and they're still very strict, but as of recent, I saw little inklings and murmurings of them at the very least attempting on the marketing side of things to kind of infiltrate into the West, or at the very least basically kind of expand outside of just the bubble of anime and manga fans. They already know at the end of the day, if you're an anime and manga fan, unless you fall out of it, chances are you're gonna love and watch and support the best way you possibly can, especially if you know. So they kind of already know that they got the anime manga fandom. It seems as though they've really been trying to branch out and bring in more people that may not necessarily know what anime and manga is, but they could become fans of it, and Shonen Jump is trying to make strides. One of the recent things in One Piece I felt was like that they're really going in a direction of more, you could say, progressive, so to speak. The fact that now with the latest film, a little girl is going to be like one of the main stars of this whole thing. I don't know if she's the villain or what's going on, but again, it just feels a little bit like they're going in a progressive direction with a lot of different things. Like, I don't necessarily know if that would have been in One Piece 10 years ago prior to this big change, and that's just one of many different things. I never would have thought I would have seen Jump Force coming out like that, and how it was, you know, conducted. I would have never thought I would have seen a lot of different avenues of movies coming to theaters, anime films and stuff. It seems like there's better relations, again, probably because there's more money between the companies and whatnot. And you're probably like, yo, Funev, get to the point. I'm getting there, I promise, because there's been a couple of huge announcements that might change everything. I'm gonna just keep it a buck with you, and you're probably thinking like, yo, Funev, so what is it? Well, for starters, one of the big things is that Shueisha opened up a new magazine. Like, y'all know they got Weekly Shonen Jump. They got a few different, you know, Shueisha has quite a few magazines out there in publication or whatnot. It's not just Weekly Shonen Jump. They got, you know, Jump Square, Jump Plus. They got a whole bunch of different things, but they opened up a new magazine, and let's read the details. The unofficial Weekly Shonen Jump account on Twitter said, Shueisha's new magazine, Weekly Shonen Camp, has released its first issue with all the main characters in the cover. Schrodinger's Call receives the lead color page, and Ukiyo also gets a color page. The Tower of Children is on break this week, so there's supposed to be a new series that's supposed to start, I guess, with it. And I'm looking at the cover of the magazine, and I'm not even gonna lie, it's very interesting the way they did this. They decided to do the reverse of what normally people do. Instead of like attracting people with like all these crazy, eye-catching things, they're like, let's put a whole bunch of eye-catching things around the center and use a black and white photo. Very, very interesting way to promote, and I'm not even gonna lie, like, kind of looks like a unique magazine and something different, and possibly even again could appeal to other audiences. But then if you look at some of the characters, I'm not even gonna lie, when I first saw it, I was like, okay, this is strange. Why does the Ukyo character almost look like a 3D model of like a game or something? And likewise with, the cat and the rabbit back there, like that cat looks sick with the X on his forehead and the sword and stuff like that. Like a lot of weird looking things, which, don't get me wrong, again, it feels like they're being creative. They're stepping outside of the barriers of just like, hey, we need a Goku, Luffy, Naruto, Ichigo, we need those type of guys. Like, it's breaking outside of that and doing something a little bit more creative for a Shueisha publication. Not that Shueisha publications aren't creative. I'm just saying that, like, in terms of this one, it feels really creative, which then led to an even bigger discussion and a bigger story, because again, a new magazine publication, so what? Nothing big. But apparently this magazine is, I guess, tied to an even bigger thing that they're doing over there in Shueisha, because essentially things are about to change in terms of the acquisitions of not only the video game rights and whatnot. We might be seeing, and this is just speculation based off of this article I'm about to read right now, we might be seeing less of Namco Bandai's, I guess you would say, involvement in this whole situation based on what's about to go down. But also, one of the big things that it seems, again, connecting that magazine, the comic thing, to this story, is the fact that gaming is going to be very important in the manga experience if this takes off. I'm going to read and I'm going to show you so you understand exactly what I'm explaining, that, yeah, you might have to, like, get into your manga through video games, or there might be manga, like, let's read. Japanese publishing giant Shueisha establishes Shueisha Games, introduces first 4 titles. Shueisha, the Japanese publisher behind Shonen Jump and some of the biggest manga titles in the world, is stepping into the arena of games with a recently established company featuring Shinichiro Hirono as representative director and Masahiko Ibaraki, Motozaku Kitabatake, God, I'm kind of slaying these names, I'm not gonna lie, Yoshihisa Heishi, and Masana Takahashi as company directors. Shueisha Games currently has multiple titles in the works for later this year and beyond. Among the revealed games, we have tentatively titled 3D action game Oni, due out on unspecified platforms in 2022. This one is being developed by Small World Entertainment under the direction of Kene Design. The Tower of Children is a survival roguelike adventure that's on the way this summer, and it just has like a whole bunch of different games that, coincidentally, if you go back to that magazine, are characters from that magazine. For example, that cat that I was talking about, Ukyo, is actually a video game. So then it gets me a little bit more interested, like, wait a minute, there's also a multiplayer speed trick action title in the works, as well as new large-scale projects that will team Shueisha's popular writers and editorial knowledge up with major game companies. So imagine this, essentially the next time around, let's just say we're going to go into a new series by Masashi Kishimoto, it could potentially be led in by a video game tie-in. Basically, Masashi Kishimoto could say, okay, my next project is actually going to be a video game manga. Essentially, the manga is going to be the story of the video game, but also manga is going to be released alongside it to kind of push it, because just imagine how big that would be. Y'all know gaming is huge, right? Gaming is humongous, and anime and gaming kind of go hand in hand. Usually, if you're an anime fan, you might game. Maybe vice versa isn't as common, but nevertheless, ultimately, anime and gaming goes hand in hand. Now, imagine if you market the anime or the manga with the video game. Now you're talking. Now you're creating an IP that's a video game first and a manga second. Now they're going into the big bucks, but also this is going to change everything, because again, it could make it that creators are no longer going invested in, I just want to create a dope manga that's going to get animated, blah, blah, blah. It could be video game first, manga second, anime third, or video game and manga simultaneously released, and boom, anime after the fact, and they'll have like DLC updates. Like, this is a whole new avenue that they are potentially creating if they are being as crafty as I think they're being right now. Essentially, that you're getting like a whole manga experience via video games, and people love video games. And imagine like they could constantly charge DLC, which would essentially be like selling more chapters. Like, hey, you buy this DLC, you get to play more of this game, and it also gives you more of the story via this manga. So they could take people like, again, Masashi Kishimoto. He's been quiet. It's been quiet for Kishimoto sensei. He hasn't really done much since what? Obviously, after Samurai 8 got canceled, ultimately, supposedly, he came back to Boruto. It still hasn't been credited as him being the story writer of what's happening right now. So that's something to kind of be determined at a later date of like, did he really take over, or were they just yanking our chain to see if it would actually help any of the popularity of Boruto? Because just quickly, as I'm marketing person, I would be like, it might actually make people run to go read more Boruto and increase sales if we just say Kishimoto's name. Let's do that. Ask him if we could do it. And hopefully if they did ask him, he was like, yeah, of course you could do that for the right price. I'm always in support of the creatives and the artists getting their money. And yeah, the companies, you gotta wait a little bit. Let the creatives eat. But just in general, honestly, this is going to be groundbreaking. This could potentially change everything. This could potentially be a change to the way you enjoy manga. Who knows? This could turn manga fans into video game heads, and it could actually even make people go from manga to just straight up enjoying the story interactively. Because one of the biggest things, which honestly has been out there, but it's just a very different experience as well, is like, you know, let's just say a visual novel. A visual novel gives you a similar experience of almost the best of both worlds. You're playing a game where you got to pick what route to go. So essentially you're having a game where you got to think, it's thought-provoking or whatnot, but then ultimately you're still experiencing a story, like where Fate Night comes from, the visual novel or whatnot. This is kind of giving you that same type of experience, but imagine you're playing the newest Weekly Shonen Jump serialization, and let's just say they have the mechanics to do so where they're creating it as video game first and going second, or it could just be that they're only going to go with legacy acts first. Maybe it could be like, Kishimoto has shown in the past he can do it, and despite the fact that Samurai 8 was a failure, ultimately he could come back and still have that name recognition to be like, hey, I maybe didn't like Samurai 8, but I would have loved to play Samurai 8. Oh shit, that just got me thinking. Because essentially, imagine if Samurai 8 was released as a video game with a manga side of it. I think we would all love it. We might even just say something like, yo, the manga's a little complex, but boy, do I love the video game. Or we might not even feel complex about the manga because we're enjoying the video game. You think about it, Samurai 8 works so well as a video game. A lot of these series could work well as video games as well, and ultimately they can even get into the isekai genre. That's something that Weekly Shonen Jump and Shueisha has really not dove in too much in terms of this side of things, the shonen side of things. Like, they don't really go into the life in another world situation or anything like that. Like, they kind of stay away from it, minus, like, I guess it kind of feels that way with like a Dr. Stone. It almost feels like life in a Stone Age or something like that, even though technically it's not an isekai because we see what happens. Well, I don't want to get spoiled. I don't know what happened at the end of the manga if we got answers, but either way, point being is this: if this is a massive success, if Shueisha Games is a massive success, you might be playing video games and reading manga at the same time, or you might have to play the video game in order to get more of the story from the manga. They could kind of yank you around. If you're a manga fan, a video game, or if you're both, you're going to probably be in heaven and just enjoying the living crap out of an experience like this. And then that also brings me to another question. Well, if they're bringing Shueisha Games, which obviously this is also them trying to introduce new titles, maybe they want to get a whole bunch of mobile games with the Jump and Shueisha name behind it so that way they could sell more and whatnot. But then also, will Shueisha Games be the company and they're going to use that money and manpower and team to create the next Dragon Ball game, Naruto game, My Hero Academia, Jujutsu Kaisen? Like, it would be the biggest thing in the world if the Jujutsu Kaisen game was to be a really good game and come out via Shueisha Games. Like, that right there will put them on the map. Like, one of the biggest anime and manga right now, Jujutsu Kaisen, comes out, boom, it's already selling massively. You don't got to worry about like whether or not it will sell. The video game will sell itself. Make a good video game. Now everybody's talking about, oh, forget all the studios, Shueisha Games, you do the games from now on. Because, you know, a lot of people have been pretty disappointed with Namco Bandai's video game releases over the last few years. The fact that we're still on Xenoverse 2 being supported with DLC 6 years later, I don't really like that. I think supporting a game for 2 years, even 3 years, is like, it feels old, but okay, whatever. It's not that big. And don't get me wrong, don't get me started. Please, Xenoverse community, do not attack me. I know you get it. Because all I'm saying is I want more for you. We should be on like Xenoverse 5 right now or some shit, or at least Xenoverse 4. Come on. All I'm saying is that I wish they would have given Xenoverse 3 so that y'all could have get more. Xenoverse 2, like, how long has it been? Or even bigger, now that I just thought about it, worldwide. Holy cow. Like, look, this is how they conquer. Goddamn, I'm giving them marketing tips. And maybe you're probably thinking, yo, Fornev, how is this? Like, because if they drop that Jujutsu Kaisen game, it's a really good game over there in Japan, they dominate. Or even Demon Slayer, which Demon Slayer Cyber Connect 2 has them right now, so they probably can't do it. But Jujutsu Kaisen, unless they have already a deal, they could do, boom, Jujutsu Kaisen video game, high quality, you take over Japan. Then, for all of you out there that love Bleach, you drop a Bleach game that's really good too, and the masses outside of Japan, you know, in the West and whatnot, come screaming Bleach, and now you put out 2 games that got Japan and North America in your back pocket. You just dominated. So not only is the scenery changing for anime and manga in terms of like, yo, you got all this new Shueisha Games magazine that's tying into the video games. Yeah, now you're also possibly taking in and creating one of the bigger gaming companies, because think about it, one of the big things that we love about stories, like, or with video games, a lot of times I'll buy a video game, it's like, yo, dog, that art looks sick, and the video game looks cool, or the story looks dope. That's pretty much what you do, like Black Clover. One of the things that gets everybody in is like, hey, it looks cool. That's a selling point. It looks cool. Now you start off Black Clover as a video game, you get people hooked on the video game, they get hooked on the story, the manga's coming out, well played. It's only a matter of the games have to be quality. Right now, the games that they're putting out kind of looks a little bit like starters, like, hey, let's throw something, maybe it looks like, mobile a little bit. Let's see where it advances, if they can actually push this and take this to another level of, yeah, actually making this some real good games. Because nothing lasts longer and sells more sufficient than quality. Never let them tell you otherwise. And you know how I told you guys that it seems like they're trying to branch out to the West even more? There's even more news right here that I saw that I was like, wow, just absolutely wow, in terms of they're trying a lot of different things. They're trying to expand. I don't know if they're trying to become like the next, Walt Disney, because you think about it, if Shueisha was to, let's just say, beat out the other two major publishers, or they all joined into one conglomerate, I could see that rising up. They start dropping like big blockbuster anime films, which they're already doing. Demon Slayer was huge, even over here in the States. Likewise with Jujutsu Kaisen. Likewise with anytime you drop a Dragon Ball film, you drop a Naruto film right now, oh my god, you blow people away. You know what I'm saying? Like, those films do very well. Like, it has all of the ingredients capable of making Shueisha a conglomerate. And then when they start making moves like what I'm about to read here right now, it definitely even cements more for me that, yeah, they really want to expand. They're trying some crazy stuff. Or I guess not too crazy, but it says famous singer Rosalia will be taking over the cover of Weekly Shonen Jump issue number 19 alongside Chinatsu and Hina to commemorate Blue Box's first anniversary. A special collaboration song is set to be released in Jump's YouTube channel too. This is the first time that an international star appears in the cover of the magazine since the 90s, back when names such as Arnold Schwarzenegger or Shaquille O'Neal appeared with Jump characters. And you see right here again, you got Shaq on one cover next to Slam Dunk, and then on another one, I forget what's that called. Is it Momotaro? I forget the name of it, but it was like the little baby from J-Star's Victory Versus alongside Arnold Schwarzenegger. And it's kind of interesting and almost fascinating to me in a way to see Shonen Jump is actually circling back to an idea that they haven't done in a long time. Like, in case you don't know, I'm about to blow your mind with this one too. Over there in Japan, a lot of these magazine covers minus Weekly Shonen Jump, oftentimes you would think you're getting a copy of like a Hugh Hefner magazine, if you know what I'm talking about. Like, legitimately, Weekly Shonen magazine, Young Jump, majority of these magazines usually have like really hot models on the cover in swimsuits and whatnot. It's a rarity that those magazines be having, like, let's just say Meliodas on the cover. They usually sell like, hey, look at these hot girls, and oh, there's manga in there. That's why a lot of series like Fairy Tail or the Seven Deadly Sins or anything really that comes out of Kodansha, Fire Force, oftentimes they try to put fan service, some more than others. Fire Force didn't really feel as fan servicey, except, sometimes he would go a little bit off the rails. Fairy Tail, of course, got, notorious because of its fan service, but nevertheless, that's a tie-in to the fact that the covers is of models. Again, these really hot models is on the cover and whatnot. And again, Shonen Jump don't do that. Shonen Jump, 9 times out of 10, their cover is either going to be a series that has been running a long time in Jump, one of the more popular ones, or a brand new cover for a new manga. To be honest with you, I don't think that that's a smart idea moving forward in 2022, especially right now, marketing and business-wise. While it's really dope, like, yo, you got some new stuff, ideally, you still want to pull people in with the stuff that they know and then make them a fan of that. But it seems as though, again, if Shueisha is going in an expansive direction, maybe they want new fans. Maybe they don't care if you don't know what this is. They want you to get to know it. Maybe you don't read Shonen Jump, but like, oh shit, this caught my interest. Maybe that's where they're going with it, because now if they're going and circling back, like, yo, imagine like the 30th anniversary of Arnold Schwarzenegger and we're getting Jump and it's Arnold on the cover. Like, I ain't gonna lie, it's not gonna bother me. I'm not gonna be like, oh no, I can't have Arnold, or, a parody of Will Smith smacking Chris Rock. Oh wow. Because the cover, like, I can't do none of that stuff. That's not gonna bother me by any means. I might actually have a giggle, but it is interesting and also makes me just wonder a little bit, like, well, why would they do something like that? Like, why would they want to go in that direction and be expansive, so to speak? Could it be that other avenues are suffering? Could it be that new investors, new ideas, new concepts? Like, it is just radical and very different from what Shueisha and Shonen Jump has been all along. All along, they've been very strict. We don't do this, we don't do that, we don't do this, we don't do that. We stay in our lane, we stay to what we know. Now, all of a sudden, they got a whole lot of opinions, a whole lot of changes and whatnot. And again, it's welcomed, but it's just interesting and makes you wonder, wow, why the change? It must be that it's the changing of the guard of who ran shit over there. And now we got these people that are like, let's try some shit. Hey, this worked in the 80s. People love celebs. You put more celebrity into this. Yeah. Although I guess I wonder how that would work, right? Because think about it, like, like this, and maybe they have this problem over there in Japan, but let's just say you put, I don't know, at some given point, it gets to Shonen Jump is so popular in the West that they decide to put Drake on the cover of Shonen Jump. Doubt it'll ever happen because, yeah, I don't see it, but nevertheless, let's just say a Drake or a Jay-Z or whatnot. That's gonna piss some people off. Y'all know legitimately there's some people that they absolutely hate hip-hop, rap, and all that jazz. You have Jay-Z on the cover of Weekly Shonen Jump, they're gonna say, first of all, what does that relate to anything unless it's like a new music manga, like maybe P is going on, they're gonna say something like that. Somebody like me, I see Jay on the cover, I'm like, yo, I gotta buy a couple of these and put this on. I respect Jay to a different level, and ultimately I'm a hip-hop fan. Some people don't like that shit, and yeah, that could go bad if they got the wrong celeb on there. Like, imagine they just did a photo shoot with Chris Rock the other day for, like, you know, the cover of Jump, and then all of a sudden you get slapped. Like, what do you do then if you got all the magazine pressed up, ready to go? At that point, you're kind of gonna just be like, shoot. So they gotta tread lightly with this one, but definitely seems as though now that they're bringing this idea back as well, they're putting the singer, which I don't even know who that singer is. She's kind of hot, so maybe they're going down the direction of, hey, we're gonna put pretty girls on the cover. Maybe they're not gonna go like to Arnold Schwarzenegger and stuff like that, but they might put models, they might put, you know, things like that, and this could become a staple, which it's just weird, man. Weekly Shonen Jump never did this. That was a Weekly Shonen magazine thing. Times are changing. I'm just hoping that the other publishing companies don't fall too far behind, because Shueisha is making major moves with this video game, right? Like right here, this could be endgame checkmate, where they could really give the death blow to another company. Like Shogakukan is on his last legs. It's like it got a couple of big titles, but in terms of, it's in last place as far as numbers wise between Shueisha, Kodansha, and Shogakukan. And it would definitely be a major bummer if someday, because of this whole big move, that Kodansha would have to close his doors or something, because then we won't get something as beautiful as the stories and manga that come from that magazine. And of course, the Weekly Shonen magazine author comments. Let's read, courtesy of Jose_K. Todai Revengers, which is a Tokyo Revengers comedy, gag, spin-off, parody, whatever you want to call it. And I'm not even gonna lie, I think that that's hilarious, because he looks more like, almost as if Todai Revengers is Tokyo Revengers, but like if it was real. Like instead of like, yo, the coolest character designs, dudes having tattoos at the age of like 3 and shit, like instead of all that insanity and whatnot, it kind of looks like the character design, for example, of the main character looked very realistic. Like he's just a dude, book bag, glasses, you know, regular dude. But Shinpei Funatsu, the author of Todai Revengers, said, I'm working on 2 series serialized in Magazine Pocket, Todai Revengers and Kendaichi Hanin Tachi no Jinkembo. Check them both out, which I'm not even gonna lie, that's kind of cool. Like I wonder what type of work ethic you gotta have to be able to do 2 of those, dog. Like that's some Hiro Mashima stuff right there. You're doing Todai Revengers and Kendaichi. In case you don't know about Kendaichi, very big manga. It's about like a lawyer, if I'm not mistaken. Like huge stuff. Shout outs to Todai Revengers. Then we got Hiro Mashima, author of Eden Zero and Fairy Tail 100 Years Quest, Fairy Tail, Final Fantasy Origin, Stranger of Paradise is a ton of fun. One day, man, I got a game with Hiro one day. He loves gaming too much. And I love gaming. I don't get to do it as often. I want a game with Hiro Mashima. That would be fire. Then we got Kei Urana, author of Gachi Akuta, the newbie in Weekly Shonen magazine. I kept talking about pooping while working. What? Dog, really? Come on now. Like, I know I joked around about saying, yo, I had a nice dump before, but like that's not what they really should say. Like, that was just a joke recommendation, not like, no. And before long, Ando and the other assistants had started drawing poop as well. So basically, he was getting clowned in his own studio. Gosh darn it. We got Yusuke Nomura, author of Blue Lock. I can watch ASMR cooking videos forever. That is so random. Like, dude wants to hear somebody whispering while cooking, also while drawing about soccer. I guess he has a very diverse taste in entertainment. We got George Morikawa, Hajime no Ippo. Hiro-kun's game is highly valued. Is he referring to Hiro Mashima? I don't know. Yoshitoki Oima, author of To Your Eternity. I want to learn a technique that'll allow me to use Uniflash as part of my daily life. I know this is like not really about the manga and shit, but you know, season 2, I can't wait. And wrapping things up, we got Negi Haraba, author of Ranger Reject. I bought the provisions necessary to wage war on pollen before it arrives, and allergies are one heck of a monster that you do not want to go against. I mean, everything got to change eventually, right? Like everything can't stay the same forever. Kind of like series that come and go, and the author, you know, they end their series and they move on to the next one, like the author of Fullmetal Alchemist, Hiromu Arakawa. Like, she got a new series going on right now. However, Fullmetal Alchemist was a smash success, and right here is the proof in the pudding of like, yo, dog, look what it was doing. Courtesy of Jose_Kev, Fullmetal Alchemist manga infographic, one of the most popular and acclaimed series of the 21st century. The first anime was the one to launch the series to the top, despite being less popular nowadays than the second adaptation. A selling giant of his time. Yeah, in case you don't know, Fullmetal Alchemist had 2 anime, one of which pretty much like the second one adapts the first 25 episodes of the first anime. So yeah, it's had 2 anime. And right here we're seeing actually numbers, straight up numbers of Fullmetal Alchemist's sales, and holy cow, looking at these sales, by the time the anime started, volume 6, it was already doing about 500,000, and then the anime, oh my god, I never knew how vital the anime was. I always thought, because I wasn't, at that time on the scene and whatnot, I always thought that Fullmetal Alchemist was just straight up from the rip the biggest manga in the world, and that's it. I didn't realize how much of a part, which nowadays I kind of should in retrospect always have these eyes that I have of like, oh, the anime is really important to the success, because from volume 6 to 7, it goes from not cracking 500,000, probably 400, maybe somewhere around there, 350, 400, to all of a sudden doing, what, about 1.25, maybe 1.3 with volume 7, and remaining there, consistently selling over 1 million, about, again, 1.2 million or so around there, and then going all the way fast forward, because then, the original anime stops. That's for the original anime alone. Then by volume 20, it starts dipping a little bit. Then volume 22, the Brotherhood anime starts, and the Brotherhood anime, for the most part, it gets a couple of boosts, like volume 24 and 27, but it kind of just stabilized it. It looked like it was starting to dip, and then the Brotherhood anime maybe helped it bump a bit, but also just stabilized to not completely, diminish. And he even gave us a very interesting comparison of like Naruto, Fairy Tail, and all of these other massive conglomerates physically. So 2010 ongoing series, Naruto volume 50, in 18 days sold 986,000 copies. Yo, that's crazy. That's crazy. Like, yo, right here, this is proof that I got for some people that were saying, oh, you exaggerate how much Naruto used to sell back in the days. Naruto volume 15, in basically less than 3 weeks, was almost at 1 million copies. While again, you got like new age series that now, because manga is more popular, Jujutsu Kaisen and all these are like doing 1 million in a week or some crazy stuff. But back then, for a series 50 volumes in to be doing need I say more of that? But then again, you look at Fairy Tail in 19 days with volume 20, 394,000. It's weird because it's like select series are exploding, but the other series are falling to the wayside because we're not seeing as much of that anymore. Because I mean, look at this, yo, this is very good numbers. Naruto volume 50, almost 1 million. Fairy Tail volume 20, almost 400,000. Again, this is all in like less than 3 weeks. Gintama, 393,000, almost again, same as Fairy Tail. And these are like 20 and 30 volumes in. D. Greyman, 20 volumes in, almost 500,000. And then you look at Fullmetal Alchemist, I never realized how much more popular than all of these series, minus One Piece it was. Fullmetal Alchemist, in 18 days in comparison to Naruto, had 1.1. Basically, Fullmetal Alchemist was more popular than Naruto pretty much in its heyday with volume 25. Like Bleach, 641,000. Again, like people be saying these sales, like I don't see sales like this except for, certain series like Tokyo Revengers, Jujutsu Kaisen, Demon Slayer, like those type of titles, they're gonna be selling astronomical, but I'm not seeing like, where's the Hitman Reborns that are doing that? You know what I'm saying? And I'm sure some people are gonna point out like, oh, this series sold well. Like, no, they're not selling like these. And I guess also you gotta attribute the fact that, hey, we're in a different era. This is physical copies. Who buys physical like that nowadays aside from like ForneverWorld? Like, yo, dog, I'm not even gonna lie, and I love my physicals. I love to see it. If I got a question or a thought, or I want to look at it, or I want to reread it, or somebody wants to read it, I can lend it. Well, I don't really lend my shit. I'm not even gonna lie though. Like, yo, you ain't borrowing no ForneverWorld. No, you come through and kick it though. I'm just saying. But you can't get my stuff, my lord. No. And again, like I said, in the new era, there's outliers. The Spy X Family with 800. Like, these sales kind of make those look a little bit silly, but those are for the big dogs. Like, these are the ones that, either they have massive animes or again, these new era weird things that like, I don't understand how, and the only thing I can make sense of it is, again, anime is more popular now than it was, that Kaiju number 8 and Spy Family, the sales that they do, astronomical. Like, yo, you're doing 813,000 in 21 days for a kind of family-oriented type of series. That's nuts. And again, Fullmetal Alchemist, even with all of these behemoths, minus Jujutsu Kaisen and One Piece, Fullmetal Alchemist will put them in their place in terms of dog. It was a big dog. Fullmetal Alchemist was way more popular than I ever thought. Like, nowadays, Fullmetal is more so looked at as like a cult classic. Like, I don't really hear people screaming Fullmetal anymore. It's been over a decade now at this particular point. Plus, Hiromu Arakawa just released a new manga that I read that first chapter. If you haven't watched my review for it, you might want to go check it out. It was a massive, banging first chapter, but ultimately, Hiromu Arakawa, like, she's moved on. So, Fullmetal Alchemist, of course, nowadays isn't going to be as popular, but back in the day, Fullmetal Alchemist was more popular than all of our favorites, okay? Like, the Naruto's, One Piece, and Bleach, like, they had nothing on what FMA was doing. It's just going to be interesting to see what these series that blow up really quick down the road look like. And that's probably too why Shueisha is trying to do this whole blow up real quick and then end it and let everything else, the merchandise and whatnot, make the money so that you don't see a dip in sales and whatnot, because eventually something like that is just like in YouTube. If you blow up real quick, you get, 1 million subs in, your first year or whatever, you might fall fall off after that because you just exploded and whatnot. And you know, it's going to be interesting to see what the test of time is like. Are we going to look back on some of these series in 15 years and say like, yo, dog, this is that thing? And is it still going to be selling well a decade later? Kind of like, you know, Blue Exorcist, for example, by Kazuo Kato. It says it's officially returning its serialization in issue number 6 of Jump Square out in May 2022. After an unplanned extension of its hiatus, the series will be getting the cover for its comeback, because I do remember us reporting that it seemed like it was supposed to return. Again, it's been on hiatus for almost exactly a year now at this point, close to, and it seems as though it's finally returning. And yeah, hopefully to kind of wrap up, because I do know that it seemingly is on its last leg in terms of story and what needs to be told. But also, it's been a whole freaking year. Blue X's fans, like, no fans deserve, and I know Hunter x Hunter fans and Berserk fans are looking right now like, yo, what are you gonna say exactly about hiatuses? Relax, don't hurt me. Oh god, no. Like, I get it, y'all had y'all hiatuses, y'all always had y'all hiatuses. Shout outs to Kentaro Miura. I wish he would have taken more. I wish he would have took 150 million of them, so that way he didn't have all of these health conditions. But that's a different story. RIP to the legendary late great Kentaro Miura. I'm always going to say it. And then Yoshihiro Togashi takes his breaks because he don't want to end up, you know what I'm saying, losing his life drawing. That's not something he wants to do. And I always got to understand that aspect of it. I understand the fans. I understand the author at the same time as well. And yeah, it's been a year, and if the series is already feeling like it's on its last legs anyway, come back, wrap this bad boy up, give the fans what they deserve, and boom, move on to your next one if you decide. Like, because I'll be honest with you, like, Blue Exorcist, it doesn't seem like one that I'm rushing to go and finish the story or whatnot. Like, if they release more of the anime, I'll probably continue it that way, because I did really enjoy Blue Exorcist, and at one point I had like every volume of the manga. But nowadays it's like, it's been so long already. Like, I got into Blue Exorcist back in 2011, and granted, I got into One Piece back in, like, I don't even freaking know, it's been so damn long. But the difference is like, yeah, there's no hiatuses, and One Piece has been consistent, and I didn't fall out of it. Like, I kind of fell out of Blue Exorcist, but it's a good thing again for the fans. They're returning. Kazuo Kato, you're gonna get more Blue Exorcist, and yeah, celebrate. Because regardless, I'm going to call it right now, and I want to see if you guys agree with me. Do y'all think Blue Exorcist is ending this year? I have no doubt in my mind, like, Kazuo Kato probably just came like, let me end this bad boy. Like, you know, it's time to end it, because, you know, it's been going on for a long time. Not as long as One Piece has been going on, though. But yeah, we got some unfortunate One Piece news right here, dog. I don't even like to report on this, because it's like, oh, come on, why are you yanking our chain? It's not the worst thing in the world, but after I reported and we were all excited, like, yo, yes, Oda knocked one more down. Let's go, let's go, let's go. They kind of shattered our illusion of what just happened, although it will inevitably happen down the road. And if you're wondering, Fornev, what are you referring to, fam? It seems Carlson Manga has corrected and retracted its initial statement in One Piece Volume 100's description, and now it says the series has nearly 500 million copies in circulation. Probably what happened was the big dogs at Shueisha came down and said, yo, we haven't even announced that yet. What are y'all doing? Why are y'all announcing that? Or, hey, it hasn't reached that yet. Why are y'all putting that out there? They probably like, oh my god, they about to cut us off. Oh god, no. We apologize. Let us explain. Because realistically, like, that's crazy to announce something that massive. And I initially thought to myself, like, why is this random thing, Carlson Manga, like the one that is confirming this? This is normally like a very big Shueisha press release. Oda draws something. You know, the cover of the magazine that week has Luffy on it to kind of represent that we just did 500 million. Like, that seems more of like a very, very big thing. So when I saw this Carlson Manga, I was like, it could be accurate, and it's from the unofficial Weekly Shonen Jump account, so I'm gonna, you know, look at it more closely than others. But yeah, Carlson Manga got it wrong, and it's not 500 million copies as of yet. But let's just keep it a buck. Like, yeah, they don't have it right now. It could be very well next month that we get this big announcement. Hey, One Piece has finally reached it. Because I'm wondering, I'm gonna keep it real with you. At first, I thought One Piece was going to go down in history as the highest selling manga by a single author, or the highest selling comic by a single author of all time. I thought it was gonna happen, and granted, it still could, because One Piece still got a ways to go. But because of One Piece slowing down, and the fact that I want to say it's either Batman or Superman. It's like Batman and Superman were like 1 and 2, and then I think One Piece surpassed one of them to become number 2, and there's just number 1. But if I'm not mistaken, I believe number 1 is ahead at this point. Let's just say even if One Piece had like 500 million, I think number 1 has like 600 million or something. So that's still like another 100 million copies. Can it be done? Absolutely. If tomorrow something massive was to happen, I don't know, we found out who's Luffy's mom, and it connects connect somehow in some crazy way, and like, you know, the biggest thing in the world, like it could very well happen, like, or you know, major character death. A lot of times people really go crazy flocking and they feel like they gotta own that volume. Like, there's a lot of things that can be done, but remember that it's not like Batman stopped releasing comics. Granted, One Piece is selling way more. Each volume of One Piece probably sells more than, like, I don't even know how many books of Batman, so there's that as well. But eventually this isn't like, you know, where Batman, they kind of just keep rebooting. They may do that with One Piece, who knows, 2 Piece or 1 piece and a half or something, but they don't keep on eventually One Piece ends and Batman keeps on going. So even if One Piece surpasses Batman at some given point, the unfortunate truth is, unless Shueisha continues to milk the title and release new One Piece and kind of count it towards it, Batman is going to remain as number one. Even if it loses it, it's going to just retake it once One Piece ends, because yeah, it'll sell millions and millions and millions. Even if it catches up, it'll be selling millions and whatnot, but eventually the buck gotta stop at some given point if it's not producing new stuff. It's just a matter of, will the spin-offs and all the other stuff that they're going to do down the road actually continue to pad it and keep One Piece selling enough to, again, surpass whatever it is, again, Superman, Batman, one of them, because it already surpassed one of them. But I mean, right now we're still full steam ahead with One Piece. Is still going very strong, and we just got this announcement that Luffy goes full pirate in new One Piece film red character visuals. So seemingly we got the character design for Luffy in color this time around, because I believe we got this image in a sketch and it didn't look nowhere near as fly as this. After revealing a bunch of new information on the One Piece franchise on Monday, the official Twitter account for the upcoming One Piece film red anime film released a new character visual of Luffy today in a getup that could only be described as going full pirate. The text on the poster, which seems to be a response to the first character poster, reads, "Never. I'm on a 183 victory winning streak. Goro Taniguchi returns to the franchise for the first time since 1998 as the director of One Piece film Red. Taniguchi, who is best known as the director of Code Geass, previously directed 1998's One Piece Defeat Him, the Pirate Ganzak short for the Jump Super Anime Tour ahead of the TV anime premiere in 99. Tsutomu Kuroiwa returns from One Piece film Gold to write the screenplay." I wasn't a big fan of film Gold, to be honest with you. I liked, what was it Heart of Gold, the little special before it? That was dope. Toei Animation is producing the anime film with Eiichiro Oda, if they're getting over their hack, and of course film is set to open up August 6, 2022. And yeah, honestly, it's a real sick design. Again, I gotta say though, it's par for the course. I don't know, it's just usually very badass looking, very sleek, very awesome. Like, I don't know, I don't get impressed with One Piece characters and movies and their designs. Like, I expect it, maybe this is the expectation, maybe it's unfair expectations, but I expect them to look really fly, look like they came out of the Gucci store. Like, that's an expectation, because Oda always delivers for the films. Like, when he brings the character designs and shit, and I'm looking at it, I'm like, yo, that looks fire as hell. Freaking Luffy looks like, I don't know if I want to say, yo, dog, you a fashion model or a pirate. So it's like, yo, it's awesome, but kind of expected it to be awesome, if I'm just keeping it real. I'm gonna keep it real though. I'm just grateful we're still getting One Piece films in 2022. Like, sometimes I like to look at the grass is green right here where I'm at right now. Like, yo, dog, it could be so bad. It could be that One Piece failed and never even got an anime adaptation. And you know what I'm saying? It's just like, hey, you know what I'm saying? There's so many bad scenarios that it could be. So when I look at it, we're getting a film, I'm excited. Kind of like another franchise that I was hoping we was getting a film to kind of bring it all in, and whoa, because literally as I'm filming this right now, news just broke that Attack on Titan anime final season has wrapped up, and there's big news of what's to come. And I'm gonna just keep it real. My first thought when I heard this news was, oh snap, Mappa's really gonna milk every cent they can out of Attack on Titan, because yeah, most of us really thought that we was getting Attack on Titan, the movie, the final movie. It was gonna be the wrap up. It was it. That's it. Everybody thought, yo, dog, this is it, because the final episode of Attack on Titan was supposed to air April 3rd over here in the West and close it all out, supposedly, right? Even though most people knew that, hey, how is it going to end when there's still like a ton of chapters that need to be adapted from the manga to the anime? How is this all going to happen? Because again, most of us thought, okay, movie, perfect. They're going to put a beautiful budget. I'm going to the film to watch Attack on Titan's finale. However, Mappa was like, we could do that. We could give you the best looking movie and, you know, go out with a bang. Or how about we just put out another season of the anime? Because the big announcement is Attack on Titan, the final season, is getting another season. Like, we had the final season part 2, and now with the end of the Attack on Titan anime final season part 2 episode finale, they announced that Attack on Titan is getting another season. TV anime Attack on Titan, the final season, final edition, broadcast in 2023 on NHK General TV. The announcement video has been released, and it's an image of what looks like a giant footprint, and on it standing are Armin, John, Mikasa, Hanj, Levi. I see that little freaking demon back there, Gabby, and what, Falco is it? Yeah, Connie. Like, yeah, basically the remainders, and they're standing in a footprint, and it's basically coming 2023, the final season, final edition. I'm not even gonna lie, I'm not a big fan of this move. Like, don't get me wrong, I am always really happy about more seasons of my anime, and this is great news in a way, because it could have been like, we'll decide if we're gonna do something else. Like, it could have never even got all of this animated, right? So I'm definitely absolutely grateful for Attack on Titan getting more anime. I still feel like it would have been more impactful and would have went out with a real big bang for all of the fans at that if we got an Attack on Titan movie. Like, I feel like a movie wrapping this all up with beautiful art and animation would have been perfect. Honestly, you watching right now, if you like Attack on Titan, you know 1000% there's a high probability, high possibility that you would get your behind in a movie theater if there was an Attack on Titan finale film that's going to wrap up the story that you've been following for probably a decade plus. Well, not a decade plus, you know what I mean. Like, you've been following it for a while, like Attack on Titan. Well, actually could have been for a decade plus, because I read it in 2012. So yeah, you could have been for a decade plus following this bad boy, and a film would have been the best way to go. But it seems as though they're doing a what season would this be now? Like, because if you break it apart to, like, okay, there's the first 3 seasons, and then there's season 4, part 1 and part 2. So I guess that would technically be, you could just really just stick with, like, hey, this is the 4th season. It's just a really, really long season in comparison to the other ones, and they're milking it. We'll probably get another video game out of it, and also at the same time, this will give Isayama an opportunity, or whoever is going to be doing it, to pen the follow-up, because, again, I have no doubt in my mind. You think Kodansha's going to let Attack on Titan, their biggest title, regardless? Like, don't get it twisted. Tokyo Revengers is blowing up. Overseas, Attack on Titan makes Tokyo Revengers look like Rugrats, okay? Like, and I'm not talking about size-wise because of a colossal titan. I'm saying that it is massive outside of Japan, and that's what they want. And I'm almost certain that Isayama's looking around too, because if I was Isayama, I'd be looking around, right? And I would look at a couple of the authors that came back after their smash success: Masashi Kishimoto with Naruto, Hiro Mashima, Fairy Tail. I would be looking at all of them and be like, minus Kubo, that came back with Burn the Witch. Everyone loved it, and he's coming back with Bleach again, and everybody's really loving it. Like, the rest of the mangaka aren't thriving in this new era. Like, Masashi Kishimoto got canceled with Samurai 8, went to Boruto. He's not even credited as the writer of each chapter, so kind of been like in the water. Maybe he might be making a return with that big story we talked about with Shueisha. You should go check out that story if you skipped it. But nevertheless, like, okay, he kind of failed, and then you go and you look at another author like Hiro Mashima. While I hear nothing but praise for Eden Zero, and I really enjoy Eden Zero, the sales for the manga are very mediocre. The sales of the manga, for example, will be like 20 to 30,000 first week, and for a Hiro Mashima manga, you're expecting 100,000, 200,000, 300,000, or even 90, 80,000 first week. And when you're not getting that, you're getting 20, 30, 40. Like, who knows? Maybe there could be a massive boost once season 2 comes, because that's where people say all the juice is at in season 2. And maybe it'll make a big hoopla where everybody will talk about it and get a bunch of people into it. But even Hiro Mashima isn't thriving per se. Like, it's really all about his hustle that makes Hiro Mashima the greatness that he is right now. That he's hustling. He's putting his hat in every arena. So you might not rock with Eden Zero, but you might rock with Fairy Tail 100 Years Quest. You might not rock with Fairy Tail 100 Years Quest. You might rock with the video game that I just designed for them. You might not rock with that. You might rock with something else I'm doing. So Hiro Mashima, he's just an anomaly of work ethic, okay? That's why he's still popping. But Eden Zero really didn't fly off the paper. And Burn the Witch, I like that, but don't get it twisted. It's not like Kubo decided to make it an ongoing thing. It was more so like, hey, Kubo's back. This is dope. And yeah, so it's not like he came back with another major ongoing series. And that's why I think that Isayama probably would make more sense, in my opinion, to just keep on going with Attack on Titan if he wants to continue drawing more manga, because you're going to have a lot more of a chance of making more money and continuing on with it. Do I think as a reader of it and as a fan of it that that's the good thing to do? Hell no. Let that shit end already. Put it to rest. Like, you love or hate it, just let it end already. Like, let it end. And I know you're probably thinking, yo, Funnel, why didn't you say that about Boruto? Well, Boruto came. It's here. Like, Attack on Titan spinoff, Attack on Titan Next Generation is not here. I can give my criticism right now, because yeah. But if it was to return, I don't know how I feel. I don't know if I would want to even read it or talk about it. Like, I'm just right now, like, in limbo with Attack on Titan. But either way, I know he's not not giving it up. And either way, Attack on Titan, we've strayed way far from the truth that the final season, part 3, is essentially coming, the final season, final edition. And it's cool. I'm happy, but I would have preferred a movie. I think a movie would have been sufficient enough, but they're probably going to bank on more recap films, just like what they did with, what was it, season 1, they did recap films. Maybe they're going to do a bunch more recap films, so they're like, we can't be ball over right now, we got recaps on the way. Hopefully they do it right too, because fans are going to, you know, put them through the cheese grater if they don't get it right, okay? If Attack on Titan final season, final edition isn't 10 out of 10 Demon Slayer level, people are going to be mad, especially as Mappa, especially as Titan, and especially it's supposed to be over. It's kind of crazy that I was, and a lot of people were talking like, yo, it's the end of an era, Attack on Titan's ending, and they like, yo, no, next year, like, damn, looks like we'll have to wait a little bit longer for more Attack on Titan anime, and it will be another season. It's a win regardless. It's definitely a win, but that's how we leave off today with some great news. Curious what you guys think about this episode of Forever News. Favorite story, most important story, a story that you like, yo, Forev, it's in the news cycle, please cover it. I will definitely do so. Just let me know what it is, and if it's of important or interest to me, we're gonna jump on it. But that's all I have for this one. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. I'm ForneverWorld, and as always, people, have an awesome day, and remember the golden rule: anime and manga for life, boy. Have an awesome day. Peace in, and you guys just watched another episode of Forever News. Have an awesome day. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell for all notifications. I'm just saying. You